Shalom, shalom, brothers. It's Brother Kamama Hard here back at it again. First and first, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahawah Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and learn his truth from. Blessing to the Akimandir preaching his word with whole heart and sincerity. Blessed to the 144,000 and 1/3 entirely. The first fruits kingdom of heaven, house of David, the Biyaf Dawadah. And shalom to you brothers out there speaking different tongues and looking different nations. Shalom to you brothers. So today, brothers, back on the show. I wanted to get with a topic I haven't spoke about in some time now. I got a lot of videos in the past regarding some of the similar topics, but it came back around. I was watching these brothers in camp from the Sakari, San Diego camp. Been following them brothers pretty extensively lately. And the one brother Taz, I believe he's their lead speaker. Very eloquent, very patient, very gifted brother. Got to give it to him. They was going into they speak to pretty much different people, Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Semi Indians. But most of the people they speak to, as a group, they're Edomites, non-Israelites, so-called, and a lot of our people who are, probably in the snare of Christianity, things of that nature. One of the key topics that came up that was very interesting was free will. Free will is a stumbling block for a lot of people. I even had that logic as well, that we are able to do whatever we please, and whatever we feel as though we want to do, we can do. I guess we call that do as thou wilt spirit. Forgot who would go into that and things of that nature. Forgot who brought that up. But when you come into this ministry, do the true knowledge of the scriptures of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, that couldn't be farther from the truth, man. Turns out there is no free will. There's no such thing as it at all. And now we do have the minds in the scriptures, lab. So it means heart. So a heart means lab, which was also is the mind. We do have what you will call our minds can think, right? So we have that. And as far as like what we think we choose to do, could be the case. But then again, what's guided is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah to the where they would like you to be or want you to be. Not they would like you to be. Whatever you're ultimately supposed to be. If you was meant to go down this path, but decided to do something else or something, if you want to hold or have it, the Lord will still guide it to where you think you're doing something, but in reality, the Lord got you moving in a certain way in order to go to where they want you to. Let me see. There was I've been using the hard copy some of my videos, but I'm kind of going back to it. And also for the sake of my Google, my video recorder, it seems like if I go out of the screen, it's not going to it'll pause itself. So I tend to try to just hard copy that because of because that aspect. Let me see. There was a really good point, and because I got a lot of Proverbs. Proverbs is where you want to get a lot of free will killer scriptures, and I implore you brothers that whatever I put up, also you can write them down and look up for yourself. Now there was a precept that I forgot that I don't have. There's a precept regarding Pharaoh, when the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart to show his power. I'm actually, brothers, I'm actually going to try to see if I can. See, this is tricky. I don't want to ruin the. Let me see if I can. See, this thing's still rolling. Ah, see. All right, so it's still rolling. So I'm gonna give this a shot. See if this works. Harden Pharaoh's heart to show his power. Actually wanted to bring this one out. So no, there's like a I might not find it, but for the sake of the video, might be in Ezekiel. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Make sure this thing's still rolling. It is. All right, so there was a precept, brothers, Salakia, where it actually talks about how the Lord had, it references the hardening of Pharaoh's heart in order for Yahweh to show his power, which was a more further understanding to understand that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is in control, and nobody, can really dictate outside of it. I'm gonna start at Jeremiah right here in Jeremiah 10. I guess I go to 23 to the point. It says, Jeremiah 10 and 23, it says, "O Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps." You see that? "O Lord, I know that the way of a man is not in himself." So it's not in yourself. And it says, it is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. Not at all. And then, King David also goes into how the Lord makes his steps big. And also, I'm going to go back to Proverbs. Proverbs is where I was going to ultimately stare at, where it goes into it, where it just tells you straight up that there's no such thing as free will, and everything that a man does throughout his day, or whatever the path that the man takes, or wherever he's going, or whatever he decides to do, and ultimately where the result is where the Lord wanted you to be at. And that's also another little scary thing, to the point where it's like, damn, you're not in control at all. And obviously, if you want to look at it from a basis of being verbatim or literally, that I'm doing this video here because the Lord obviously had it set up to where he wanted me to do this on this particular day, and however it works. And throughout the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which I implore you brothers as well, that's in the same boat. If you in the highways and hedges with your brothers, if you're doing videos, you're reading, studying, understanding precepts and breakdowns and things of that nature, you're in a good situation, because obviously you was set up to be able to do that at that particular time. And what a good thing to be having to do. I'm gonna go at Proverbs 20. Proverbs 20 and 24 is pretty much the precept that I've mastered. I knew this for a very long time. Proverbs 20 and 24. It says, man's goings are of the Lord. How can the man then understand his own way? You see that? How can you understand your own way when the way of a man's goings of the Lord? That's why I was getting back into Pharaoh, how the Pharaoh was being Lord. Look, to a regular guy, I would assume, even if it's a king, right? Because even Proverbs 21, right. See, I was in Proverbs 20 and 24, but here is Proverbs 21 and 1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will." Right? You see how that goes? I can even go to, because I was referencing Pharaoh. Let me just bring this point out before I miss it. I would assume very, I'm willing to bet you any amount of money that if Pharaoh's heart wasn't hardened by the Lord, right, If Pharaoh's heart wasn't hardened by the Lord, a lot of those plagues that he had, what was it, 9 of them, before the last one, which was the ultimate one that probably hurt it the most. I'm pretty sure after a certain amount of plagues, maybe by plague 2 or 3, maybe one might be like it could be a fluke. He probably could have thought that, right? But when it comes to a couple of the plagues by like plague 2 or 3, you know, I would assume that, you know, Pharaoh would have believed Moses, like, all right, this is getting too real, it's getting too spooky. I'm not even about to sit here and deal with this bull. Like, yo, let these people go. Like, get these people out of here because I got a kingdom to run and I ain't got time to be, Now, granted, the other thing that's a little bit of a nail biter is I remember the children of Israel was like a main faction of his development. You know, we so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Seminole Indians from back in that day was responsible of the pyramids and a lot of things built in society and upbringing and everything. Just like nowadays we still are, right? I'm willing to bet that in a lot of different ways, that Pharaoh would have messed around and gave up earlier than normal for sure. You know what I mean? Like too much spookiness was going on, and there's no way in the world somebody can survive all of that. You know what I mean? But what did the Lord say he wanted to do? And roughly paraphrasing, that for the sake of the Lord showing his power, he wanted to harden Pharaoh's heart to prove a point and to show himself and to reveal how powerful he really is, right? I got another precept in Daniel 4:35. Here's another one. It says, and all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will, talking about Yahweh, in the army of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand or say unto him, what doest thou? So there's nothing that nobody can ask a question about. There's nobody that can actually come up to the Lord and try to ask about what is it that you're doing and what is it that you got going on. It's basically like, listen, you better off just falling back because you're not going to necessarily be in the understanding of the Lord. Kind of reminds me of Isaiah, where I think it's in the book of Isaiah. I'm not sure if it's 55. I know it might be 1 in 55, but I know it was 1 in 40. Isaiah 40. All right, so I can go to Isaiah 40 and 28. It says, hast thou not known, hast thou not heard that the everlasting power, the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary, and there is no searching of his understanding. You see that? So there's nothing that you can, is no point in trying to understand why the Lord do what he do, how the Lord moves, etc. Mind your business, stay in your lane, and just ride the wave, big fella. That's pretty much all you can really do. I'm going to go back to Proverbs. Back to Proverbs. We're going to go to Proverbs 14. Well, block the camera, brothers. But it's all for edification, man. Just trying to school you brothers, and just, hey, and you can just pass it on. My bad. The only thing with the hard copy, it'll give you three books in a row, and you gotta just like pages are. So it's Proverbs 14 and 16. It says, Proverbs 14 and 16, straight to the point. It says, a wise man feareth hold on, wait a second. So like it, brother. Nah, I needed Proverbs 16:9. I mean, might be one of them. Correct. Proverbs 16:9. It says, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. That's straight to the point. It says, again, it says, a man's heart deviseth his way. So it's talking about the heart means lab, which means the mind. So a man deviseth his way. He might, think some things out. He might decide to do what he want to do, have an inkling of what he got going on. Ideas pop up, what you say you're going to do. All those things are all in your mind. You can think it. But as far as the execution of how things work, it's all on the lines of the Lord. The Lord's going to guide your steps, and the Lord going to say, you know what? He thinking like this, though, but I'm not going to let that happen. So what I'm going to do is I need him to do this and do that. So I'm going to guide his steps for him to do that. And then where you ultimately will, obviously, this is the tricky part. You got to look at it from this angle. Where do you actually result and where you end at? What's crazy is that by the time you get to the end of that decision and where you land, you're going to obviously be in the mental state that's where you decide to be. It's like, you know what? You're going to ultimately be toward this path, and then you're going to see the options of your decisions at this point. If you look at it like that, and then you're going to be like, all right, cool, and then you're going to choose this because the Lord guided you there, and then more than likely what you chose was what the Lord wanted you to go for anyway. It's like, give it up. It's like, give it up, man. It's like, what's the point, man? What's the point? It's like, what are you going to do when you pretty much are like, it's like, what are you going to do? So now you just basically like, damn, now you got to look at it. I pray the Lord keep me in good standings. I pray the Lord keep me in the ministry. I pray the Lord, keep the brotherhood intact. And I pray the Lord have me endure unto the end. Matthew 24:13. The one who endures to the end, the same shall be saved. You just want to pray to the Lord that your steps are guided to be, along the line of righteousness, and keep on in the ministry. Keep thinking on the Lord, keep praying. If you got to fast. Keep the high holy days. Just keep your faith up, which obviously going to lead to your works. And you want to just hope that the Lord God has your path along the way where it ends up to be salvation and into the kingdom of heaven, man. So there is no free will. The Lord is in control of everything, and it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. So I'm Rajazan Brothers is a quick hit. I'll get Lord willing is edifying. I'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, Bahara Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders on his truth from. Blessing to the Akimadar preaching his word with wholehearted sincerity. Yahweh, he is to be, exists by Hashem in the name and the only begotten Son, the Lord and Savior. Yahweh Shah, Baha, and Holy Spirit of Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders on the truth from. Again, blessing to the Akimadar preaching his word with whole heart, true sincerity. Blessed in the 144,000, 1/3 entirely. The first fruits, kingdom of heaven, house of David, the Biaf Dawadah. And Shalom, brother, they're speaking in different tongues and looking in different nations. Shalom, brothers. Shalom.